Hey guys, what's up? It's Kev for the win. We're back for another edition of Monster Hunter Rise. Today on the channel, we're taking a look at Endgame Hammer Build. So, Kaiser Crown X, as you see here, Critical Eye, Critical Boost, Flinch Free, Stamina Thief, Archfiend Armor, Baloo. Here, we're going to have Weakness Exploit, Resentment, Chain Crit, Slugger, Critical Boost. Next up, Malzeno Braces, Wirebug Whisperer, Attack Boost, Blight Resistance, Weakness Exploit. Next up, Anjanath Coil X. We're going to have for the skills, Attack Boost, Critical Boost, Stamina Thief, Flinch Free. Next up, Archfiend Armor, Cirrhosis. Dereliction, Resentment, Attack Boost here. Absolute Repellence, you can use whichever one you want. For the Talisman, Slugger 2 with a slot, so we could gem in stuff. Very important to use the Fine Kimura Hammer. For the gems, Charger Jewel +4, Tenderizer Jewel 2, Anti-Dragon Jewel 2, Brace Jewel 1, Drain Jewel 1, Drain Jewel 1, KO Jewel 2, Critical Jewel 2, Tenderizer Jewel 2, Critical Jewel 2, Drain Jewel 1, Brace Jewel 1, Free Attack Jewel 2s here. Fatal Talisman KO Jewel 2. When you put it all together, you're going to look and see that you get these basic stats here. So, as you can see, 377 attack, 693 defense. We don't really like Dragon or Thunder. Everything else we can kind of handle just fine. 15% affinity as well. For the skills, Attack Boost level 7, Critical Eye level 3, Critical Boost level 3, Weakness Exploit level 3, Slugger level 3, Stamina Thief level 3, Resentment level 2, Focus level 2, and that's not all. There's still even more on the next page. Stun Resistance 2, Flinch Free 2, Blight Resistance 1, Wirebug Whisperer 1, Dereliction 1, and a Chain Crit 1 for good measure. We're going to be abusing pretty much power in this one and exploiting critical hits. So, here's what the attack boost does, plus 10%, plus a 10 bonus to our attack boost there. Critical Eye, we have affinity, which should be around 30%, I would say, if anything. Alright, next up, increase the damage of critical hits by 40%. Anytime we hit a monster's weak spot, 50% increased affinity. Slugger basically makes it easier to stun the monster, KO them. Stamina Thief, every time we hit the monster in the head, we could drain energy so it gets exhausted. Resentment, as you see here. Focus is here for quality of life to make it easier to charge the hammer. Stun Resistance to just reduce stun. Flinch Free, again, to prevent being knocked back. Blight Resistance, self-explanatory. Wirebug Whisperer to get a little bit more. Dereliction, this is very important. We're going to be using mostly only the blue scroll there, just so we can get extra stun bonus and attack value out of it. Chain Crit, every once in a while, if we're switching between certain hunter arts, where we're swinging the hammer around a lot, we could do multiple hits that way, which is why it's in this build before everybody access. So, for the purpose of this showcase, what we're going to do is we're going to fight a very easy punching bag, just so I can demonstrate the basics of the hammer. That is going to be against the Great Azuchi. Now, hammer basically has two modes, for all intents and purposes. It has the one where it swings vertically, as well as the one where it swings horizontally. So, there's one where it swings left to right, and there's one that swings up to down for anybody who needs it a bit more in layman terms. Smaller monsters in particular, it's kind of in your benefit to use the up and down charge upswing, because you can get a lot of KOs and knockouts that way. So since we're using the Great Azuchi anyway, we're going to be pretty much focusing on using the up to down version of it. In order to switch from the hammer, it's very simplistic. You charge it up with the ZR button, and then you will hit your A button as you're charging. It will switch to the different mode of up and down versus left and right. By default, you're going left to right for the most part. And that's got a kind of a cool little tornado swing that you can do with it. That helps with certain monsters, the bigger monsters, and some of the ones that are down. But I feel like it's better to get the uppercuts. Most hammer users will probably tell you it's better to just go for uppercuts with it. Alright, so we're going to swing the hammer around. Its basic attacks are very simple. One's left to right. The other one is up and down. Up and down has a higher chance of, obviously, stunning the monster. As the weapon suggests, it's a big hammer, so you're going to be slower. This is not a whole big DPS. So what we're going to do is we're going to charge up the hammer if we can. Let's back away. Keep in mind, for dereliction builds, it's very important that you eat with a gourmet fish so you can negate some of the life that you're burning through here. Alright, let's get some good position here. Hammer is also about position here, so we're going to try to charge this hammer up here in a second. Let's charge it up. As you saw, I switched it so it's up and down. We'll get a couple swings here, and we're able to hit for 909 attack, and then on top of that, knock the monster down. We'll charge it back up here. Second hit for 2 hits. Alright, let's charge it up again. We're going to swing it here. We already broke apart. As you see, we're doing massive amounts of damage against this particular monster. This is basically the best attack you could use with the hammer, in my personal opinion. Obviously, there's multiple ways that you can play the hammer. Keep in mind, with dereliction builds, you have to keep an eye on your actual health because you are a glass cannon. So although you can stun monsters easily and you do a lot more damage, you also take more damage, which is very, very, very important to keep mindful of, because with Brace that we're using in this particular armor set, there is a very high potential that you will get hit by monsters and not even realize it because you're not getting the knockback effect and everything of the sort. Also, Resentment kind of comes in a little bit handy to help mitigate there, so we can get a little bit of extra damage out of the way. For the Hunter Arts, it's really up to you as to what you want to use. I've messed around with all of them. There's not really particularly anything, in my personal opinion, that I find is great for the hammer, but, you know, you can play around with them and see what you can get. Oh, we kind of overshot our attack there. Let's see if I can get at least a level 2 charge off. Oh, might be able to get it free here. See, we got 2 hits there. If we were in better position, we probably could get a full 3 hits. It's not really going to matter here. We'll get the last hit there. All right. You can also do a follow-up attack with that. So, as you see there, it just demonstrated. So, when you charge, you can then do a follow-up. I tend to not do the follow-up too much because that leaves you obviously wide open after you swing, especially if you miss. Let's heal up a little bit. There's Zoros is trying to get in the way here. Let's move away if we can. And try to swing the hammer down here. We can't really get a KO from the tail area. We really want to be for the face. So as a hammer user, you're always going to want to target the monster's face. And if you're playing with a group of 4, obviously you're going to be competing to try to get the face of the monster. Move back here because this Zoros really wants to take out the Azuchi. Azuchi seems to have gotten the better of him though. Alright, let's Waterbug Whisperer onto this. We'll play the minigame. That way we can get extra round of damage. Chances are once this Azuchi goes down here, should be close to blue after this, because the one good thing about the hammer is it packs a really big punch despite the fact that it's one of the slower weapons per se in the game. Hammer's kind of lost a lot of favor compared to our weapons. Obviously, the hunting horn has gotten really, really, really good in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, so it's kind of outclasses the hammer, because it does everything the hammer does, but better, because you can play song and get buffs and everything of the sort. But it's still kind of nice to use some of the older weapons. As I predicted there, the monster's already in blue, so what we're going to do, we're going to swing here real quick, then we're going to charge up the hammer again. We're not going to switch to left and right here because we're trying to get a massive hit on the head. Let's charge up here again if we can, get a fast hit. I'm not even going to try to go for the full recharge there. Alright, Azuchi's moving away. Let's pick up some of the materials. We're going to let the Azuchi go a little bit ahead. That way, when we do give chase to it, it'll be sleeping in the nest, and then we can just do a level 3 charge and pretty much secure the KO at that point. So, and keep in mind with dereliction, you always got to remember to eat for the gourmet fish, case in point there. That way you can get like 90 seconds where your health regens a little, not really so much health regens, but your health recovery is a little bit better, because keep in mind, dereliction does burn for your life. The more curios that you get, the more life that you're going to burn through. Okay, so it's sleeping. We're going to charge up this hammer shot, level 3 charge. Let's swing it. Alright, we're going to need one more because one of the monsters got in the way, the Jagras. Let's swing here if we can. And we hit the tail, which wasn't the face, but we still did enough damage to take out the Great Azuchi. So that's basically the basics of Hammer. Like I said before, really you got to play around with the switch skills to see what works for your personal preference and playstyle. But this is a really solid foundation for those of you looking to get into the Hammer, or those of you who might be kind of a little bit lost as to what you should be using in Endgame. Personal opinion, I think you're probably best off using the Fine Gamora Hammer because it's got a lot of pink sharpness. As opposed, you could use some of the other hammers as well. Obviously, Tiastra would be probably helpful. The Magnamalo hammer, if you want to go for Blast, the Scorn version of it, is pretty good as well. You know, Elements got a lot of big buffs in, as I mentioned before, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. It's a matter of your own personal preference, but because I wanted to just go for pure power and really good pink sharpness, this is the best way to go. Obviously, if you use the endgame monster, the Gagmazios, I believe it's called, they're pronounced, it's basically the Archfiend Demon weapon. If you use that hammer, that's pretty good. The only problem is then you got a gem in for affinity and everything of the sort to compensate. Keep that in mind. That one's a pretty decent one too, but I prefer to go with the raw attack value for this particular build. And anyway, let's see what our clear time is going to be here. I think it's going to be at least 5 minutes, if not potentially 4 minutes. On smaller monsters, if you're able to target the head and be able to get stamina drains and a lot of KOs, you in theory can do 4 to 5 minutes on average. Alright, so that was 5 minutes and 18-second clear time. Larger monsters, about 10 to 11 minutes max should take you. If you're doing higher clear times, either your weapon isn't optimized fully, or you're doing something wrong like not targeting the head enough. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak video. As always, a like on this video is greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider doing so, as it helps the channel grow, and I'll see you for the next Monster Hunter Rise video. Till next time, guys.